It's me! No, I haven't been transported back in time to ancient Persia, but I have delved deep into the chronicles of a force that shook the world for over 7 centuries. A force so elite, so legendary, that its name echoed even in ancient Greece. The Immortals. This isn't just a YouTube channel. It's a community of those who breathe history and live for adventure. Now join me on a journey back to the 6th century BCE, where kings were unborn, but will walk in the footsteps of Cyrus the Great. See the evolution of his successor Darius, and watch the rise of a military machine that didn't know defeat. Already here? The skeptics skim. Can 10,000 men really be invincible? Only one way to find out. Are you with me? Let's dive into the heart of the Persian Empire. A lot of people think empires fall because of bad emperors. Well, maybe sometimes, but not here. The Achaemenids started small, united the Medes and Persians, then got ambitious. Cyrus the Great set his sights on Lydia, the wealthiest state in Western Asia Minor. His army crossed the Halys River and moved on two fronts. Some sources say there was a big battle near the Tiria River. Others talk about stealth attacks on Sardis, the Lydian capital. Either way, Cyrus won, and Lydia was now part of the empire. This wasn't just luck. Cyrus created a system that would make any ruler proud. First, he understood the value of skilled commanders. They were given complete control over their troops, making decisions without interference, as long as they brought home the bacon. No questions asked. Next, intelligence became a weapon. Spies infiltrated enemy camps, gathering information on troop numbers, strategies, even the morale of their troops. It was the ultimate insider information. And finally, diplomacy stepped in when brute force wasn't enough. Alliances and marriages were used to bring more states under the banner of the Achaemenid Empire. Soon, Persia's borders reached from Central Asia to the Mediterranean, a distance of over 3,000 miles. And guess who led this expansion? You guessed it, Cyrus the Great. What made him stand out wasn't just his military prowess, but how he treated his subjects. He was known for being fair and kind, earning respect and admiration from various cultures. For example, after conquering Babylon, he returned the stolen treasures to the Jews and granted them permission to rebuild their temple in Jerusalem. People even made statues of Cyrus in various cities, praising him as a liberator. After Cyrus, his son, Cambyses II, continued the legacy. He conquered Egypt, adding another jewel to the crown of the Achaemenid Empire. But good times don't always last. After Cambyses, a power struggle erupted, and the empire was divided. And now, let's meet our hero, Darius the Christ, who managed to unite Persia once again. He didn't do it with military might, but with brains. He established satrapies, basically administrative divisions, to efficiently manage his vast empire. And if you think 10,000 soldiers are hard to manage, try controlling an empire spanning 3 continents. Darius appointed governors to each satrapy, ensuring that everyone from the riches of Sardis to the farmers of Egypt paid their fair share. He also introduced the concept of double taxation, which sounds unfair, but it's actually brilliant. Those who paid taxes once had to pay again if they wanted to hold important government positions. This created a pool of officials who were entirely dependent on the empire for their livelihood, making it harder for them to betray Darius. And to keep tabs on these satraps, Darius established a network of roads. I'm talking about the Royal Road, stretching over 1,600 miles from Susa to Sardis. Along this road, there were post houses where weary travelers could rest and change horses. But it wasn't just for messengers. Darius used it to move his army quickly. That's right. If someone tried to mess with the Empire, Darius could have 10,000 soldiers on their doorstep in no time. Now, when we think of ancient warfare, we often picture armies clashing in open fields. But in the 5th century BCE, things were changing. Armies were getting bigger, navies were becoming powerful, and the art of siege warfare was evolving. The reason for this? Technology. Take the battering ram, for example. This wooden beam with a heavy head was designed to smash through gates and break down walls. Its simplicity was its strength, but the defenders had their own tricks up their sleeves. The Greek fire, a mixture of chemicals and oil squirted through pipes onto the attackers. Just imagine the stench and the flames. And as for catapults, these machines hurled rocks, spears, and even entire barrels filled with nasty surprises. Siege towers were another game changer. These mobile structures provided cover for soldiers advancing under the cover of wood and shields. Oh, and let's not forget about the cunning strategies. The Greeks loved their cunning. Whether it was diverting rivers to flood enemy camps or pretended to be a harmless messenger before striking at night, they left no trick unused. On land or at sea, warfare was entering a new phase, and the Immortals were at the forefront. The best way to understand the Immortals is to imagine them as the special forces of their day. The difference between a regular soldier and an immortal was like the difference between your local football team and the Super Bowl champions. Both play the same sport, but one team is just better. So what made them the elite of the elite? It all began with the recruitment process. Unlike your typical army that took anyone able to carry a weapon, the Immortals were hand-picked. Soldiers had to be physically fit, mentally sharp, and show exceptional skills in combat. They came from all corners of the empire, from the horse-riding nomads of Central Asia to the disciplined hoplite soldiers of Greece. Once selected, these warriors were subjected to rigorous training. Think of it as boot camp on steroids. They practiced combat formations until it was second nature. And when it comes to marching, they weren't just walking, they were dancing in unison. Every step, every turn was synchronized. And speaking of turns, their ability to quickly change directions was crucial. Remember, they were the shock troops of the Empire, meaning they often had to switch battlefields in a jiffy. Discipline was everything! Loot an enemy city? Fine! Lose an arrow? No problem! Disobey an order? see you on the streets of Babylon. Their penalty for minor offenses was banishment from the ranks. No questions asked. And for the major ones, well, the disgraced soldier was expected to take his own life. That's how serious they were about commitment and obedience. The Immortals were more than just soldiers. They were loyal servants of the Empire, ready to sacrifice anything, even their own lives, for the sake of duty. And now, drumroll, please, let's reveal what made them unique. They were literally the 10,000-man army. But here's the twist. If one Immortal died or got injured, he was immediately That meant the unit always had a full complement of 10,000 men. Talk about being prepared for anything. To achieve this, Persia maintained a reserve force of 20,000 soldiers, who were trained and ready to step in at a moment's notice. This ensured that, no matter how intense the battle, the Immortals remained a formidable force. So you've heard about the Immortals' discipline, their training, and their unique number. Let's talk about what they actually did. Their main job was to protect the king. Imagine being the royal bodyguard of ancient Persia. Not only did they guard the king, they also accompanied him on campaigns, serving as both military advisors and shock troops. The Immortals were deployed across the vast Achaemenid Empire, from the deserts of Mesopotamia to the mountains of Central Asia. They were the eyes and ears of the king, reporting back any threats or changes in the regions. And when I say changes, I don't mean the weather. We're talking about rebellions, invasions, you name it. And now prepare to be amazed by their battle tactics. The Immortals didn't rely on sheer numbers to win battles. No, they had actual battle tactics. They specialized in deep battle formations, where the rows of soldiers were so densely packed that it was nearly impossible to break through. And let's not forget about their speed. The Immortals could cover vast distances in record time, thanks to their habit of training while riding horses. Just imagine a thundering herd of elite soldiers thundering towards the enemy. Now, add to that their use of psychological warfare. The Immortals knew how to get inside their enemies' heads. Before battles, they would purposely display their shiny armor and wave their flags, intimidating the enemy. And when it came to a hand-to-hand combat, they were masters of disguise. Ever heard of Trojan horses? Well, the Immortals used similar tactics. Sneak into enemy territory, disguised as merchants or pilgrims. I'm here to tell you that the Immortals were more than just soldiers. They were the backbone of the Achaemenid Empire, loyal, disciplined, and ready for anything. But even the Immortals had their limits. The end of the Achaemenid Empire marked the end of the Immortals as we know them. But their legacy lived on in the stories and myths of ancient civilizations. They became the stuff of legends, the heroes of epic poems, and the subject of historians' admiration.